You know, back in my day, you used to just click buttons, kill Pokemon, win matches. Ain't like that anymore. Hey guys, what's up? IrishEmerald here. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Thank you guys so much for coming out and checking it out. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to this one. I've been saying it for a little while. I wanted to do this video and look, I've been putting it off for a while, but screw it, we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the differences between Gen 7 and Gen 8. I figured it was probably pretty cool to kind of do it because it's been so long since we were doing or playing Pokemon, I should say, because we took a huge retirement and we're back. So you know, I figured this might be nice because I'm coming straight from Gen 7 mindset to Gen 8, and rather than someone having to be morphing between the gens and losing sight of actually what was the differences, I'd be able to say, yeah, look, this is actually the differences right here, because I've had to grow, right? But yeah, I figured we'll go through it, and I'm going to do a quick, nice quick video about it, and you know, we'll see where it gets us. Before I get right in, you guys, if you have not clicked the subscribe button down below for me, please do so. It really does help out the channel. Click the like button down below as well. We do a whole lot of competitive Pokemon on the channel. That is what this YouTube channel is for. So definitely go check it out if you haven't checked out my other videos, particularly the Draft League videos. That's what we're here to do. If you have not followed me over on Twitch, please go check me out on Twitch as well, where we do a whole bunch of live streams on Twitch regarding competitive Pokemon, whether it be team building, laddering, Wi-Fi battles, like for you guys, the viewers, all that kind of good stuff. We do also watch other Draft League battles too, for watch along. So if you're not checking that already on Twitch, definitely go do so. Also, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I really want to get your thoughts as I talk about this in the comment section down below. So let me know what you guys think down below. Anyways, that's the plugs out of the way, alright? And again, thank you guys so much for checking out the channel and this video. But let's dive into it. Right, anyways, first thing I want to talk about, and I kind of addressed this slightly in the intro, is that Gen 7 was very much a highly offensive meta. You were talking about mainly just bringing Pokemon in, clicking buttons, getting damage off, killing Pokemon. And if you were able to play this kind of hybrid between offense and hyper offense style, you were going to really gain a whole lot of success most of the time, because you would have been able to have an ability to be able to click buttons and target and destroy your opponent's Pokemon very effectively, where also if you're able to maintain some defensive stability with your team in order to stop your opponent from doing the exact same, generally speaking, you're going to be able to win Pokemon games in that fashion. And that was down to several factors. That was down to a whole bunch of Mega Pokemon knocking around, Z-moves being there, and a lot of like a lot of movesets that Pokemon have in Gen 8 they're available back in Gen 7. So a whole combination of factors there that made Gen 7 what it was, but Gen 8 is quite different. So in Gen 8, like this whole wall breaking, being able to click and move with pretty much the vast majority of offensive Pokemon, but between being able to click and move and just nuke something, that doesn't really happen anymore. Now, I'm not going to talk about Nat Decks here. I'm really talking about Wi-Fi. I'll come to Nat Decks in a wee bit, but Wi-Fi, Gather Decks, like the Gather Decks metas, like this whole wall breaking stuff, totally different now, simply because there's not that many Pokemon that have that capability of doing it. Most of the Pokemon that are capable of doing it, either if they're able to do it, they are not required to do it as much, because there isn't that many threats that it needs to wall break for. Like for instance, Darmanitan was a fantastic. Well, I'm not going to say fantastic, but it was a very good wall breaker, and it was a huge threat. Like back in Gen 7, for instance, I remember that thing dropped onto RU, and like within a day it was back up to you. It was wrecking havoc, but this gen, it's not needed as much, because what is a wall breaking? It doesn't wall break anywhere near as much, and with everything else that's been knocking around, it doesn't help other Pokemon open up their meta game or what have you. So that thing is nowhere near as useful anymore. So certain Pokemon are actually still very, very good at wall breaking, and I still have that real powerful punch. They're not just needed anymore. So there's only like a handful of Pokemon that can really do it. Can really just be like button mashers and just click and move and cause havoc. You're talking your Shifus, Victinis, and Nidoking is very good at it. Like there's only a handful of Pokemon that are really good at doing that real niche thing, and that's also what moves on. That's what moves on to the next shift in the meta, and that is because there's so few Pokemon that are real pure wall breakers. That has opened up the door massively for setup. Has opened up the door massively for knockoff, U-turn pivoting, any sort of disruptive sets, that sort of thing. That's come like really popular now. And understand me so, because if you're not able to wall break your opponent, then you need to be able to disrupt it and keep momentum. So that's where a lot of these Pokemon have come and shown. And if you need to wall break, then you need to set up. So that's become a massive thing. And so many Pokemon got set up as well. Like Tornadus has got Nasty Plot, Hydreigon's got Nasty Plot. There's a whole bunch of other Pokemon that have gotten additional setup to their move slots. So which makes it quite scary, you know, to be fair. And if you're coming in just from Gen 7 to Gen 8, you're going to see a whole lot of Pokemon that are just going to click a setup move, and you're like, wait a minute, that's new, and that's a threat. So you know, it takes a little bit of getting used to the fact, like a lot of players, not people, come on, but a lot of players would attempt to use setup in order to do a lot of wall breaking, and as well use disruptive sets in order to cause havoc on your team. Now, I did mention this just a couple of months ago, but I really do want to highlight here Knockoff, right? Knockoff, I think the best way of putting it is that Knockoff has arguably become the best move in the game. Now, I'm not a big fan of saying a certain move is the best move in the game. I'm a big fan of saying strong stab moves are the best move in the game. So if you're able to click a strong stab attack, you're always going to be able to get big damage off on anything. But if you were to pick a neutral attack with no stab, I would say it has to be Knockoff now. And the main reason I would say that is because you have no Z moves and you have no Mega Stone. So Knockoff with base 65 that gets doubled when you click Knockoff an item. That's huge. That's huge damage. You're being disruptive as well. You're going to force your opponent to always have to rethink, do I really want to move this Pokemon in because I'm going to lose my item, whether it be Life Orb, Choice Specs, Choice Scarf, Lefties, Black Sludge, anything like that. You have to really think, do I really want to lose this item here? And that's very disruptive. It's very, very disruptive. And Pokemon that can cause knockoff U-turn shenanigans, Tornadus for example, Rillaboom, these Pokemon, like, they're going to force you into situations that are just they're problematic constantly. Now Rillaboom is a different wall breaker altogether. Like, I know not the best example, but hopefully you guys get what I mean. Like, Knockoff is such a huge move, and I would argue that if you're coming back from Gen 7 to Gen 8, if you're not looking at using Knockoff, you really need to start looking at picking up more Pokemon that can use Knockoff, and offensive Pokemon that can be used Knockoff. Not some bulky Pokemon that can use that just as a pivot move. Like, if Knockoff can be used, it can hit hard, like to the point where you're taking like 40% off a Pokemon. Like, that's not a hit that anyone wants to take. That is disruptive. So I would say if you're looking at doing, if you're looking at coming back from Gen 7 and Gen 8, take a look at Knockoff. Knockoff is going to be very important. Take a look at making sure you're able to pivot, because there's so much more pivoting in the game now between Teleport being added to the meta as an actual reliable pivoting move. So be a very big point here, just to make sure like you have Pokemon that are disruptive, because you're not going to have the same offensive capabilities. I'm going to briefly touch on screens here for a moment. The one big thing that has adapted or that has made offense adapt a lot has been screens. So you're going to see a whole bunch of light screens being ran, like, or reflect being run. Not as much anymore. Light clay has been banned from UU and RU. So if you're playing in those lower tiers, you're not going to see light clay screens as much anymore. But screens are still a big part of running a very offensive team, because there's such a big need to run setup. So if you're looking at running a very offensive team, you're going to have to look at maybe bring screens along to give you that bit more extra space to set up, and not rely on positioning throughout the battle to get you into that moment where you can actually, oh yeah, I can click Nasty Plot, I can click Solar Sense, I can click Calm Mind, that sort of thing. You know, so I would say keep in mind about screens as well if you want to build a really offensive team. Hyper offense is not dead and buried, not as effective, but not dead and buried. But keep in mind, so you got to keep that in mind. And when you're battling other players too, you got to keep in mind that, you know what, screens could be a thing here, you know, and it is quite popular. You know, won't be as popular anymore with light clay, but they're still going to be knocking around. Still a bit of an issue, and I just want to touch on that just for a moment. Second last point I want to bring to you guys is Wi-Fi versus Nat Decks, right? So I said on my previous, well, not on the last previous video, but on a previous video, I did say that if you're going from Gen 7 to Gen 8, say at any point, right? I know obviously we're getting on to, like, you know, the next kind of refreshed meta with the new games coming out. But if you have thought about taking the plunge this summer, I was saying you should move into Nat Decks, because if Gen 7 to Nat Decks Gen 8, is not that much of a leap. And the main reason is because Megas are still knocking around, right? So you're going to have a whole bunch of Mega Pokemon that are huge wall breakers, and that kind of lends itself into the Gen 7 meta. And that's the big reason why Gen 8 has a whole lot more disruptive Pokemon, and Knockoff is so much valuable, because you have lost those Mega Pokemon that are really able to like be a nuisance. But in Nat Decks, you have those Mega Pokemon. I'm talking about like some of these really powerful Megas. You're talking Mega Gallade that can just smack things up. You have Mega Lopunny, even without return, hits things incredibly hard, and it has access to U-turn now, so it's able to pivot. You have the likes of Zard X. I know back in Gen 6 that was hugely popular. That thing can still hit like a truck. It's very, very much problematic. And you have a host of other different Pokemon as well that have been cut from the decks that are reintroduced in Nat Decks. So your wall breaking is like your singular Pokemon that's able to wall break is still quite it's not more it's still viable, but not as valuable as it was in Gen 7, and nowhere near as valuable as it is in like a Wi-Fi meta. So I would say if you're looking at going into your Nat Decks, you're going to get that blend between the two, where you're going to still have a whole lot of Pokemon that's able to wall break, but you're still going to get those Pokemon that are going to be disruptors, and they're going to be problematic, and they're going to, you know, just get knock off you, turn off, because you don't have a Z-move either. You don't have a Z-move that's going to be able to, you know, just stall out a knockoff, for instance. You know, it's a little bit of a nuisance like that. But roughly that kind of covers like what I really want to say in the video. If like a few little pieces, a few little tidbits as to what have been the differences between Gen 7 and Gen 8. Of course, there's a whole bunch more, but I think at a high level, we're talking about wall breakers not being as necessary, Pokemon having more disruptive sets, U-turn pivoting, that's being far more important, Knockoff being so much more powerful, and then Nat Decks being that in-between flow between Wi-Fi and Gen 7. I think that kind of really covers it. Maybe the one other thing you could probably touch on is weather. Weather is so much more potent now because a lot more Pokemon have gone Weather Ball. So that's definitely a huge nuisance and a huge threat. So you see a lot more weather knocking around too, but weather has been knocking around since Gen 5. So I think it's a threat. More so, hair has become much more prevalent. I think that's the only other thing. But overall, those are the points I kind of want to make. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are between Gen 7 and Gen 8. Do you agree with the comment section, or do you guys in the comment section agree with some of the points I made? Is there anything I missed out? Love to hear what you guys think. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, like the video if you haven't already. Click the sub button, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to get on up out of here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.